There is no concept of freedom in the New World Order. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that you will be presented with a strict set of rules on how you will live your life.
If you follow politicians, you will never come at home. Never come at home. You will never come at home. And if you follow his religions, you will never come at home. We are going to Zion. By the rivers of where we sat down, and there we were, when we remember Zion. Chant it out, children! By the rivers of Babylon, yeah, where we sat down, and there we were, when we remember Zion. On the wicked carry us away, captivity requires from us a song. Oh, can we sing King of our song in our strange land? Chant it out, brothers and sisters. Chant the freedom. So let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. Oh, rock. Chant it out, brothers. Chant the freedom. Chant the freedom. Let us say, by the rivers of Babylon, yeah, where we sat down, and there we were, when we remember Zion. And say, chanting for peace in the world, chanting for justice, chanting for freedom and equality. Those who don't get no justice, chanting for the family, chanting for the children.
Well, we are indeed back again. Would you, Adam and Eve, this Wednesday? Yeah, let's go with that, right? The 13th of the 7th, 2022, seemingly. That's the year that we're in. So, we will go with that. Anyway, tonight, history in the making for the first time ever. We are live on both YouTube and Odyssey, right? So we're making history tonight, and maybe in another way, right? If I am correct, then yeah, possibly making history in that sense. But I could be wrong. I guess time might tell. But tonight, you're going to get a better look at the guy who I reckon is the name behind the Georgia Guidestones, dun dun dun, or as I like to call them, the Georgia Tombstones. I actually called them the Georgia Tombstones by accident, and I done it about 3 times. So now I just, yeah, what's the point? I may as well just call them what they are. Tombstones, quite fitting, really, to be honest. Of course, Georgia in that sort of area is granite capital, right? And granite, of course, is the key stone, the key material for making tombstones, right? So it is kind of fitting that I accidentally called them that. But let's face it, that's basically what they are or were, because they got flattened, right? And I mean that clearly was, I mean, in my opinion at least, and we will get into it a bit more, they decided that it was time for them to come down. Now, I really do wish that it was, I wish that it was a case for celebration. Hip, hip, hooray. They got flattened, they're down, right? Dealt with. The New World Order, it's tumbling. But I don't think that is the case. I think what it probably symbolizes is the end of the world as we knew it and the beginning of this rollout of complete tyranny, basically. And I think at the moment, if you look about the world, it's kind of in chaos already, and it probably will only get worse. We'll begin to see the Great Reset in full swing, the reset of the police, the political establishment, probably. And of course, they'll roll out their New World Order government, which is already there. They don't fool, well, us at least. And we will get into that a bit more. Let me quickly say hello in the chat tonight, right? I see we've got a few, even though we're on, I'm unsure how many subscribers on my now third YouTube channel. But we're, like I said, tonight we're on Odyssey and YouTube. So we've got a split audience, I guess, right? But Odyssey even is likely going to be the home, because it's pretty clear that YouTube, they do not want me on here. No way. And we'll expand on that a wee bit more as well. Let me quickly say hello. We have Rich in the Hood, who I spoke to on Telegram. We'll discuss that. And Carmel, good to see you back again as well. And yeah, I fell off my bike. I shouldn't laugh, but we might get into that a wee bit more. I don't want to really make it about me tonight, although we probably will get into it at the end, because it's quite interesting. We'll go with that for the time being. So hello to, of course, Carmel, and where there's Carmel, there's Rich, right? So good evening to you both tonight, and it's good to see my good friend Ruth, my sister Ruth. Great to see you back again. Hopefully, you can join us. We could be going for about, I don't know, 2 hours tonight. I shouldn't say, it's going to be 4 now, right? I've said. But we have got quite a bit to get into. So good evening to Ruth. Great to see you back again. And yeah, a zombie apocalypse. I think that we're already in that. It's here, right? I noticed more masks going about at the moment. Just quickly before we start, I think there's movement and possibly incoming bloody lockdowns at some point in this year. We're not going to get into that tonight, but possibly next week or the week after. If we're not in one by then, time will tell. So good evening to everyone tonight. Like I said, we're going to cover quite a few bits, mainly in regards to the Georgia Guidestones, right? And the person, the entity that I believe is behind them. I mean, it can really only be the hidden hand that was behind these stones, the workings of the hidden hand, right? And I don't think this guy alone, I don't think it was his idea alone. Even they say, well, he claimed at least that he was from a group of concerned people. Yeah, from the lodge, right? Yeah, of course, the Rockefeller Lodge. They've got their own church, the Rockefellers as well. I've got a few pictures from that we could, I think if we've got time, we'll discuss them at the end, right? So, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good morning, wherever you may be in this absolutely mental world that we're in. Let's have it, right? So, I think I do have a slideshow. Now, I am here in full bot form today. I've got a bit of a suntan. I caught the sun, right? So you don't want to have a look at me. Not that you would anyway. But I think it's better to get the full screen. Especially when you've got stuff to share, right? You want to be able to see it, because I've had that issue before where people have not been able to see what's on the bloody screen. So that it kind of helps that you see it. So, some of you might have been following me for quite a while. I'm unsure about the people in the chat. You can let me know, but I think about maybe 18 months ago, maybe even longer, 20 odd months ago, we'll be able to see, it was maybe over a year ago, I done my kind of first video where I talked about who I possibly think could be behind the Georgia Guidestones. And then I made my second video on it, and that's the one where I pinned a name. Dun, dun, dun. Not many people have, I don't know, went out on a limb and pinning a name on them. A lot of people come to me and say, it's Ted Turner. It was Ted Turner that done it. He built them. It's not Ted Turner. And from from the evidence, it's not Ted Turner. It can't be Ted Turner. Not going by the only people who met the people who were actually seemingly behind the Guidestones. If we go by their information, the guy passed away sometime before 2010, right? And Ted Turner, I think Ted Turner's still alive today. I'm unsure, maybe he's dead now, but he was still alive in 2010. So that automatically ruled him out. Now, he might have had some kind of involvement, because I believe he is from that sort of area. So I certainly wouldn't rule that out, but I don't think he's the guy that they're specifically talking about. And we'll expand on that a wee bit more as well. Let me see if I can work it right. There we go. So we're cooking and we're rolling. I can see that we're rolling on Odyssey and YouTube, and I think on Twitter as well. What the hell, right? Go for it. While we can use it, while we're still here. But yeah, like I said, YouTube, clearly, they've made it clear. In the past, we've known for about we've known from the start, really. They don't want my kind of content. They don't want me, even, on the platform, if you like. I think they've thrown every accusation in the book at me. Now, what I wanted to touch on to begin with is the fact that I am here on this now third backup channel because I am currently in the YouTube prison on my backup channel. And of course, the original channel, it got deleted, right? So that's gone. And on the backup, I'm in a YouTube prison. Now, on July the 9th, I did say on Telegram that I would go live on Monday. And I didn't know at the time, but Monday is actually the death anniversary of the guy that I've pinned these stones on. Talk about coincidence, right? But it just never happened. I never got round to it. But I couldn't have done it on my backup anyway, because not long after I said on Telegram that I was going to be doing a live on Monday, I got an email from YouTube that very night saying that I picked up a strike for a video that I done in August 2021. And it was probably strike worthy, to be honest. I listened to most of it back. And it was when it was actually a live stream, and it was to do with Hitler being is it a Rothschild? I can't remember. I think it's a Rothschild. It was to do with Adolf Hitler being a Rothschild. And we had an open panel, and I think our brother Plain, Steve and Rich, they were on. And I think I had maybe said one or two things that was strike worthy. We all might have, to be fair. So I can see why it probably picked up a strike. I'm not even going to bother appealing. It would be pointless. But I'll be back again there at least next week, right? But once I'm back there, we're going to have That's Life But Not As We Know It too. And this one here, That's Life But Not As We Know It live, basically. And then that will be it. If they get removed, I am not making any more YouTube channels. I just completely straight up, no, I won't be doing it. I was a wee bit unsure before, and I think now making the third is the final straw. If we get removed, we've already set up foundations elsewhere. Like I said, we're live currently, or we should be. Hopefully, we are on Odyssey, right? So, and we are on Telegram as well. As you can see, our brother Rich is in the hood, who I spoke to. And then, only a few hours later, I got an email from YouTube saying, "Nope, you won't be doing that. You won't be going live on Monday." I see Frank is in the hood as well on Odyssey. Yeah, some people maybe have issues with trying to leave a comment. I'm unsure what that is, to be honest. I think I might have had that issue when I first went on to Odyssey as well. But I'm sure you'll sort it out. Odyssey might be the only show in town. Let's face it, the way it's going, we're not really safe on YouTube, which is quite ironic, but they're likely gonna come after us again, right? And I say us because we've got a community here. We stick together, we try and help each other out as best as we can, right? So this could be nothing. The email, the random strike from about a year ago, out of the blue. But kind of funny that my channel got deleted, because my original channel, I remember the first time it got deleted, and then something happened not long after, and I thought, yeah, I probably would have covered that, and and helped maybe expose the truth about it. I can't remember exactly what it was, and then this time round again, we got deleted, and they threw every trick in the book at us, and they deleted us, and then the Guidestones end up coming down. And I noticed on my Odyssey account that when the stones did come down, the video kind of took off a bit, and I would have imagined that had my channel not been deleted on YouTube, that video would have took off on YouTube, and it would have pointed to the entity that is Lawrence Spellman Rockefeller. That is at least my opinion, and we're going to get into that a wee bit more tonight. I'm sure most people do know about the Guidestones, right? I mean, if not, a lot of this might not make any sense, to be fair, but I think the majority of people, especially around about the the sort of communities that we're in, they know about the tombstones, the Georgia tombstones, and they will know. I think the whole world knows about them now, that they've came down, seemingly attacked, right? And we're going to cover that a wee bit as well. That's quite, I don't know, I'm unsure what to make of it. I find the security videos quite hard to buy, especially the guy running away, planting it, and the car video as well. I found that quite strange. We might expand on that a wee bit more as well. We will look at the explosion. What do people think about that? Let me know in the comments what your opinion is, right? You're allowed to share your opinion here if you dare. But I kind of, when I had a look at, I couldn't really see anything in the way of a lightning strike or something from above, but I couldn't really rule it out either, to be honest. But what I did notice is that before any sort of blast, there's movement. And I don't know. I kind of get a feeling that it was either an explosive device in the ground or maybe even some sort of earthquake that triggered an explosive device. I'm unsure. Honestly, I'm unsure what to make of it. But what we can see is that they got flattened in an instant. It was not an accident. No way. This was not an accident. In my opinion, these were due to come down on the date they came down. And they did. And we'll get into that a wee bit more. I found this van here quite interesting. I mean, you couldn't get any more Masonic than that in terms of the logo, right? The bomb disposal unit. Yeah, but they didn't hang about. They must have known even that there wasn't any more. Of course, there is the situation where there's seemingly a time capsule, is it? Is that what they call it? A capsule? A time capsule? But I don't think we've heard very much about that. We could look at that at the end. That could potentially tell us who's behind it. Although I wouldn't hold my breath on that, to be honest. It's likely to be, well, whatever it's going to be. If there is one, it will certainly be a clue again. And it could debunk, I guess, my theory. It could add concrete to it. But I'm unsure if we're going to hear anything about this time capsule. You can let me know in the comments. Good to see quite a few faces in the hood. I'm unsure. It says there's only one in the YouTube, but I think there's a few more because there's certainly quite a few comments. So it's all right. We're going to keep going tonight, probably for about 2 hours, right? But yeah, quite an interesting Masonic logo. You'll notice on that van as well. Why did my phone just restart out of the blue? That is so weird, but there you go. Let me move that. Strange going ons already. So, if you look at this van, right, this vehicle, it's number 401. You won't be able, I don't think you're going to be able to see the number plate, but it's interesting if you look at it, if you put it into gematria, the calculator. So we might come back to that as well, right? Although that's not really what we're discussing tonight. We're mainly looking at who I personally think might have paid for these guidestones to be put up. And I think this entity in the group that he claims to be from are indeed the Rockefeller and the basically hidden hand entity, including the rest of the families. The Rockefellers kind of being a face for pushing it through. And we're going to get into that a bit more as well. So like I said, let me see if I can make this bigger. Make it grow, right? She said. So, June 21st, 2020. That's the first time I mentioned. I kind of had a feeling that I might know who it was or who it is. And then as I began to narrow it down, I thought, yeah, it's him. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm still kind of waiting to be proved wrong. Like I said before, most people say it's Ted Turner, but it's not Ted Turner, right? So the first video, June 21st, 2020, then July the 1st, 2020. In the video that I done, the second video, it done really well. I can't remember how well it done, but the comments as well, so many people thought similar to me where, yeah, I think that's the guy. It adds up, including with other research. It done quite well right across the board. The only place you can find it at the moment would be on BitChute and Odyssey, right? Which we are live currently tonight. I'm not going to show you both of these videos, but I am. What we're going to do is we're going to touch on both of them, right, and kind of key points from them. If I can at least work it right. So let me try my best. Good evening again to everyone tonight. Great to see Ruth in the hood and Rich as well, and lots of people on Odyssey, which is great. Fantastic, right? I'm happy that there is people there because, like I said, YouTube, it's probably not the place for us, unfortunately. Hey, that's not what we want, but it's going to be the way it is. And that'll be it. So let me see if I can share the first video that I done. I think it's about a minute long, possibly two. It was during, as you can see, a meme of the week. Only the 5th meme of the week. I think we done about, well, I don't know, 60, 70 maybe meme of the weeks. We covered a lot of memes, and that was actually really good. I really enjoyed that. So I might bring it back. I might bring it back, and I think we picked up quite a few strikes as well. I mean, a bloody meme, right? But YouTube keeping you safe, right? We are not worthy. So let me see if I can. Do you know this? There's that many. There's that many videos there. Right, where are we? Elgin. Yeah, we'll go with Elgin. So this is a clip from the first video that I done in, like I said, June 2020. And that's when I started beginning to sort of narrow it down. My investigation, if you want to call it that. I'm unsure if anyone else has drawn the same conclusion. I don't think they have. Not that I've ever seen, anyway. Not that anyone's ever said. To be honest, there's not many names out there that have been pinned on it. It's been what they've claimed, a mystery! For what now? About 40 years, and now it's history. But what did it symbolize? Especially the knocking down of it. And what would be the next step, I wonder? So yeah, I think I've got the clip here. So here goes.
If they cut me off and throw me off the air tomorrow, it won't mean a hill of beans.
Waiting for the end of the world, Georgia's 30-year stone mystery, and it's by Matt Smith, and it's CNN, March 22nd, 2010. And to expand on this a bit more, the mystery man is dead now, right? Martin knows this because the man's son got in touch with him recently. Only 2 people in Alberton met him face to face. Martin and Joe Fenley, the contractor who built the monument. And Martin and Joe, of course, both Freemasons. And as you can see, by this we already now know that it's a man who is now dead who also has a son. So without maybe knowing, they're giving away a lot of key information. And it then says Fendley, who went on to become the town's mayor, is dead now too. But Martin, now 79 and living a few towns down the road, said he remains bound by his pledge to keep the secret. Well, I'm afraid they're already giving away the game.
If they cut me off and throw me off the air tomorrow, it won't mean a hill of beans.
So, that was from the first video that I done in June 21st, 2020, right? And specifically touching on that article in regards to the people who met the alleged entities behind the Georgia tombstones, guidestones. And they might not have known it, but in my opinion, they gave away key information that they should not have given away. They just should not have. Unless it's not true, that's another story. But we have to go by what they said, right? At least going by what they've said. This is where my investigation then took me. So now what I'll do is I'll show you the second clip from the second video that I done in July the 1st, 2020, right? But I did get this tweet a couple of days ago in regards to my video, and it said, I watched a video today about the people who put it there and the man who owned the field. The man who commissioned them under the name R.C. Christian was in his 70s when they were erected, age of death 94, in the year 2004, which would make him 70-year-old in 1980. Right, so the penny kind of dropped there for me, but I could be wrong. There is a lot of stuff on the stones that point to different things, but it's not just the age that matches up and the family connection with Larry, it's also the type of person he was. So, that is the video that I done where I named Lawrence. And the connections with Lawrence, his family, and Georgia are pretty much endless. And this guy fits the bill to a T. His family does to a T. They might even be the only ones that can fit it. And I know people mention about the Rosicrucians and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll touch on that also. Because the Rockefellers and that kind of thing, it comes hand in hand. So, one of the things that always stood out for me when it came to the Guidestones, excuse me, when I started kind of learning about them, one of the things that always stood out was this quote here: leave room for nature, or be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature, leave room for nature. And I think it was because of the fact it was the only thing that was said twice on every single thing that was written. It was the only thing that got said twice. And I always kind of felt that that was a big clue as well as to who this guy was. Now, what I want to show you before we get any farther is the video that I talked about, that the person shared with me on Twitter, where I found out a wee bit more in regards to the entity, right? So, here it goes.
Behold, the Georgia Guidestones. These granite monoliths mysteriously appeared about 40 years ago. And if you're thinking aliens or a cult or even the 10 Commandments, well, you're not the only one. Just ask this guy.
And you take pictures of it, you get a blue orb. When you put your head down in there like this and look through it, a ball of energy comes through that sucker, man.
Things at this southern Stonehenge are about to get totally weird. These granite slabs are on a farm outside of Atlanta, and no one knows exactly what they're doing here.
In future generations, they'll wonder, who put those stones there? Why did they put those stones there?
Hudson Cohn was here from the beginning, 1979. He took these photos as the Guidestones went up, 19 feet high, 250,000 pounds, and built to withstand an earthquake. The 4 slabs of granite each have 10 guiding principles of truth and harmony. They're inscribed in English, Russian, Chinese, Arabic. The list of languages goes on. But what does it all mean?
I've had people some and say it was some kind of Satan worship shrine and it ought to be torn down. And I've had others say it was the holiest spot on earth, that the Holy Grail was buried under there. Some people think it's a beacon to UFOs.
Hudson is one of the only people to meet the man who knows the true meaning. His name is R.C. Christian, and he paid for this all to be built. And wouldn't you know it, R.C. Christian is a fake name.
And he was very concerned about the environment.
Do you think he could still be alive?
Probably not. I'd say early to mid-70s then. I'm not saying he couldn't be alive, but he'd been an awful old man.
Even the people who built the Georgia Guidestones say that they don't even know for sure why R.C. Christian wanted this. Not even Wayne Mullinax, who sold 5 acres of his cow pasture to make space for the stones.
My house from here is about 600, maybe 700 feet down there, and we didn't have a problem unless somebody was going to come and sacrifice one of my cows, then I would have had a problem.
Did that happen?
No, it did not, but I did get nervous several times.
Mostly what's happened is a constant flow of tourists to Georgia's granite country. That's what this region is known for.
We do headstones and things of that nature, monuments, we do war memorials and things like that, but this really is one of the largest.
The Guidestones bring about 10,000 people a year to a town with a population of only about 4,500.
People all the way from Australia and China.
With all the tourism, is it possible that R.C. Christian was someone from Elberton that simply wanted to promote the area?
I'm thinking probably not, just because there was no marketing done really after the Guidestones were erected. If you're going to put up something of this nature, then you're going to market that, right? You're going to tell everyone.
One of R.C. Christian's conditions was that there'd be no tourist attractions on the land, no t-shirt shops or crystal necklace stands, but there's no stopping the cosmically curious and the theories they bring with them.
I try to get up here 3 to 5 times a week. The real secret is under there. At some point, these will come down, and there's a time capsule right under there.
There's actually been a lot of speculation about the existence of that buried time capsule.
There's some things you just don't tell everything.
Do you think it's there?
Let's just say I'm not going to answer that.
What's supposed to be in it?
Well, a lot of times there's capsules in different places with different things in it. And that could be the true identity to the group that Mr. Christian represents.
Maybe the time capsule's buried somewhere but not there.
I didn't say that.
That's just my speculation.
I didn't say that.
Whatever the reason, these slabs are built strong enough to stand on this earth longer than any of us, leaving a future generation guessing.
It's like looking at a painting. You can see the painting but you don't know what the painter really meant. Whatever it means to you is what it means. There's no right or wrong.
So, as you can see from the first article that I touched on from CNN, we discovered that the entity behind them was dead. And this article came out in 2010. So we know he died before 2010. And of course, Lawrence died in 2004. So definitely before 2010. And I doubt the people would have been told until years probably later about it. And then from the other video, we also found out that when they were erected in 1980, the guy was in his 70s, early to mid 70s. And of course, like I mentioned, Lawrence was 70 at the time, 1980. I think they got erected in 1980. Or was it 1982? I think it was 1980. We might get back to that. Let me quickly write something down. Because I want to check something at the end, which might help, and it's in regards to the date when they got basically unveiled, right? So hopefully, excuse me, we get a chance to cover that. Now, like I said, leave room for nature. Leave room for nature stood out big time, right? It just in big, huge writing, big lights around it. And I think that's a big clue as to the person behind it. And through what we heard from the guy who met RC Christian, if you like, if you want to call him that, he had a major concern for the environment. And he clearly was this guy who claimed to love nature. And if you know about the Guidestones, they obviously wanted this balance in the world where nature would basically control it, and the human population would be kept to, what was it, below 500 million? Did the knocking down of them imply the achievement of this task, if you like, this command? Is it a case of job done? I guess time will tell, right? That's Lawrence in the bow tie. I know you're thinking possibly in the dress, because I think that's his wife. I mean, I hate to mention about people's looks or anything like that, but they always kind of, I find them rather strange looking, if I can get away with saying that, right? You might know what I'm talking about. Now, here's actually, do we know who this is? I'm sure most of you will know. Of course, on the left, we have Lawrence with the glasses. And then we've got Ted Turner. Yeah, of course, right? They would be connected in one way or another. I'd imagine Ted got most of his money from the Rockefeller entities, because that's what they do. They fund anything that can further their agenda. And their agenda stretches into every fucking avenue of society. I kid you not. And you'll see what I mean about that. So yeah, kind of fitting that there would be Larry, if you like, or Bill, maybe. And we'll expand on that later, but and his pal Ted, right? There's a book that I touched on a few months back in a live stream, the Rockefeller Horror Show. I think it's called Rockefeller internationalist. And if you're ever doing any research on the Rockefellers, you have to go there. It's a must read. It's quite staggering, the information that's in it. It's like, wow, how did they get so much power? But the main tool, in my opinion, that they used is, of course, money, but that being the people's own greed. We've kind of shot ourselves in the foot because they use that to like I said, further their agenda. And we see that today. People wanting to make the big money. What they going to be investing in now? Stuff like synthetic meat, carbon-free fucking whatever. All this climate crisis stuff. That'll be the go-to for those who want the big funding, the big bucks from the likes of Bill Rockefeller, right? Yeah. Anything Rockefeller wants is okay. Sen Vanderberg, San Francisco, UN conference, 1945. So since probably way before then, Rockefellers, whatever they say goes, right? Their power, the stretch of their power is staggering. And that was then. Here's the family. You've got the father, and I think the five. Is it the five? I think there's five, right? Larry was the third born, which I found quite interesting, and I think that could be key as well, potentially. In this photo, behind John D, who you can see, the smallest guy, is the number 96, and of course there's 6 of them lined up, so you've got the 3 sixes. And talk about Masonic poses, right? I mean, come on, it's like a circus act. It's quite it's quite comical, really. Now, this one I found quite interesting. This here is a photo of Lawrence Bellman Rockefeller in his office. I'm unsure of the exact date. But, I mean, we all know about paperweights and stuff like that. But as you can see, what Larry has opted for is what I'm going to call granite stone. Or granite stones. And I think also 2 other stones that I'm unsure as to what they are. But we might come back to that. I'm unsure if you're going to be able to see. I zoomed in a wee bit more. Of course, yeah, paperweight, right? But I thought that was quite interesting. And I thought, that looks like it could be granite stone, right? He could be a big fan of granite stone. That would not surprise me one bit. And of course, yeah, that could mean nothing, right? But again, it's a very small part of quite a big puzzle, to be honest. So we're going to expand on Larry a wee bit more, as I like to call him. Born May 26, 1910, died 11th of July, 2004. Now, like I said, I was going to do this live stream originally on the 11th of July, and I never knew that was the death anniversary, but I thought, wow, that's a bit strange, right? We'll go with that. An American businessman, financier, philanthropist, and conservationist, right? Yeah. I mean, usually for a Rockefeller, it's businessman, con man, criminal, murderer. That's what it should say. But yeah, you usually get businessman, financer, philanthropist, if you can say it. Sometimes artist, which David Rockefeller, I think, claims that he was. I think they all claim that they're artists, to be honest, which is quite funny, but there you go. But when it comes to Larry, you've got conservationist, which is completely different from them all. This guy seemingly was nature, nothing but nature. Rockefeller was the third son and fourth child of John D. Rockefeller Jr. and Abby Aldrich Rockefeller. As a trustee of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, he provided venture capital for Intel, Apple Computer, and many other successful startups. I bet he did, right? Rockefeller was known for his involvement in wilderness preservation, ecology, and the protection of wildlife. His crusade was the establishing of a conservation ethic, and he was declared America's leading conservationist by Lady Bird Johnson. Wow. Yeah. I mean, if you know about the Guidestones, this kind of sounds like it might be the guy, right? To expand on him a bit more, he was a leading figure in the pioneering field of venture capital, founding a joint partnership with all five brothers and their only sister, Babs. Now, anyone who watched one of my previous live streams, we mentioned the name Babs. I never knew that the Rockefeller sister was Babs, but of course it would be Babs because that's the ballet satanic religion. That's one of their favorite names of all. And that, my friends, is a dead giveaway because these people are evil to the core. Big time. In 1969, this became the successful Vernock Associates, which provided important early funding for Intel and Apple Computer. Amongst many other startup technology companies, of course, including many other firms involved in healthcare. Bit of a jack of all trades, old Larry, right? Yeah, typical of these Rockefeller entities. Over the years, his investment interests spread into the fields of aerospace? What? Yeah. Electronics, high temperature physics, composite materials, optics, lasers, data processing, thermonics, instrumentation, and nuclear power. Yikes. Yeah, imagine that was your hobbies, right? I mean, honestly. The family also had long-standing philanthropic ties, among them the Museum of Modern Art, Rockefeller University, and Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Yeah, they were also quite heavily involved with cancer research. Of course they were. That won't come as a surprise to anyone. But yeah, quite interesting that, right? Intel, Apple Computer, aerospace, technology companies, healthcare, data processing, lasers, nuclear power, the Museum of Art, cancer centers. Who are these people? I wanted to also mention this one here. It's most noted. Where is it? While sailing past Virginia Gorda, Rockefeller spotted an idyllic half-mile crescent bay with what he dubbed, quote, Wilderness Beach, close quote. In 1958, planning and land acquisition began for what would become Little Dick's Bay. Oh, man. Honestly, I shouldn't laugh, right? I really shouldn't, but come on. Little Dick's Bay. In Virgin Gorda, Little Dick's Bay. That's what they called it. The resort opened in 1964, and on January 18th, 2014, Little Dick's Bay celebrated its 50th anniversary. In 1993, the resort became part of the Rosewood Hotels and Resorts even, but remains true to Rockefeller's vision of natural harmony and balance, while offering an escape from the ordinary. Yeah, I bet it is. Natural harmony and balance. Does that sound familiar? That's Larry Rockefeller's vision for Little Dick's Bay. I wonder if that was Larry's vision for the world. Larry, of course, also funded research of the Pear Lab, dealing with consciousness-based physical phenomena. Yeah. He also had an interest gained via his mother in Buddhism and Asian cultural affairs. Yeah, I bet he did. He funded the research of Harvard Medical School professor Dr. John E. Mack, author of Passport to the Cosmos. Oh, man. He also was reported to have supported the work of Dr. Stephen M. Greer of the Disclosure Project. Yeah. Rockefeller was also a patron to Roger A. Weir, specifically in relation to Weir's research on Jesus and Mary Magdalene. Now, I don't know about you, but if you know the basics about the Georgia Guidestones, this is sounding like the guy. Now, I could be alone in thinking that, but in my opinion, from what I've seen from the Stones, this is the guy. And to me, it adds up. I wanted to expand a wee bit on this pair. This Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research, which was at Princeton University. Parapsychology. Yeah. Established in 1979 by the Dean of Engineering, Robert G. Hwan. Pear conducted formal studies on two primary subject areas, psychosisness and remote viewing. Yeah, of course. Of course, right? He's got great hobbies, this guy, Larry. I mean, it's hard to even imagine what sort of people these entities are or were. But seemingly this project got closed down, and it was a bit embarrassing for the faculty to be looking into things like remote viewing, because that can't be a thing, right? I'm not so sure. That could be something that we might get into in the future. But again, these entities that are tied to so many different things that are so strange, it's quite staggering, really. Rockefeller funded the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center at a critical juncture of its early development. Of course he did. He also funded William Irwin Thompson's association, a think tank, and a retreat. He had a major involvement in the New York Zoological Society. Yeah, I bet he did. along with support from other family members. Yeah, of course. And other top people like Bill Gates and the rest of them, right? The A team, the people that are always there to help us and protect us. What else? Surely there's not anything else, right? But yeah, well, yeah, because the UFOs would have to be there. And of course, they're there as well. When it comes to the Rockefellers, yeah, there would appear to be quite a big connection. And I never actually knew about this until the other day in regards to Lawrence Rockefeller funding the UK's largest crop circle survey. Interesting that, right? Yeah. Good old Larry. In later life, Rockefeller became interested in UFOs. Yeah, later in life, probably in his whole life, he was interested. But I think about in the 90s, it became quite cool, right? UFOs, aliens. That's what they wanted to make it cool. The movies, stuff like that. Of course they did. So in later life, Rockefeller became interested in UFOs, seemingly at least, excuse me. In 1993, along with his niece Anne Bartley, the stepdaughter of Winthrop Rockefeller, and the then president of the Rockefeller Family Fund, he established the UFO Disclosure Initiative to the Clinton White House. Of course they did. They asked for all the UFO information held by the government, including from the CIA and the US Air Force, to be declassified and released to the public. Yeah, of course, right? Through them. Yeah. The first and most important test case where classification had to apply, according to Rockefeller, was the Roswell UFO incident. Yeah, I bet it was. In September 1994, the Air Force categorically denied the incident was UFO related. Rockefeller briefed Clinton on the results of his initiative in 1995. He briefed the president on his results. Are we seeing who's really in power here? Because I certainly am, even just by that. Clinton did not produce an executive order in late 1994 to declassify numerous documents in the National Archives. Sorry, Clinton did produce. I think I said did not. I'm still confused from my head knock. So he did produce, but this did not specifically refer to UFO-related files, right? But of course, this began the gradual, I guess, push. I don't want to say disclosure because it's, in my opinion at least, the alien agenda is another manipulated narrative. I mean, there could well be aliens. There probably is somewhere, maybe. Who knows, right? Who knows? But what they will present us, that will not be the case. It simply won't be. And anyone who has eyes to see, you will indeed, you'll see it. Put it that way. You will not be fooled, not one bit. Seemingly Larry as well, he supported, he opposed even harsh punishments on the war on drugs. I bet he did. He thought they were, quote, overly harsh laws and punishments have reduced faith in government, which is essential to the functioning of democracy, close quote. Larry Spellman Rockefeller. And to be fair, yeah, that is correct. Overly harsh laws and punishments have reduced faith in the government big time. And that, I believe, is not by accident either. It's clear to see the disaster of a government is an orchestrated disaster big time. And yeah, tyranny. Want to talk about tyranny? Overly harsh laws and punishments. We are now in basically the final stretch. We'll begin to see the breakdown of pretty much everything. Society as we know it, government as we know it, the whole lot, it will eventually collapse big time. The fall of Babylon, you might want to call it that. That might be an indication of the stones coming down. Again, I could be wrong. But I'd imagine Laurie was probably for the use of drugs, for testing on subjects, right? Rather than him actually taking them himself, although I certainly wouldn't rule that out, to be honest. Here's Larry here, not your average Rockefeller, right? Out on, I don't know, safari? Could you call it that? And he fits the bill. This is the park, the Grant Tenton National Park that he basically built. And again, there's a big, huge granite stone right at the entrance, and it's the Lawrence Rockefeller Preserve, not the the Grand Tenton National Park. It's the Rockefeller Reserve, of course. And I think I've got another photo here. Coming into it again, you've got the granite stones, but we are in the granite. I think this is a granite sort of area as well, although I think it's the other side of America. But they're both, it's quite funny actually, because they are both home to a lot of granite. Is there a connection there as well that we might not be aware of? I would imagine it would be some sort of satanic connection, but I'm unsure. The Tenton National Park is an almost pristine ecosystem, and the same species of flora and fauna that have existed since prehistoric times can still be found there. Wow. More than 1,000 species of vascular plants, dozens of species of mammals, 300 species of birds, more than a dozen fish species, and a few species of reptiles and amphibians inhabit the park. Yeah, I bet there's a few of them. Man. I bet there is a few of them reptiles that inhabit this park, right? Amphibians, yeah. Due to various changes in the ecosystem, some of them human-induced, efforts have been made to provide enhanced protection to some species of native fish and the increasingly threatened whitebark pine. So yeah, this park is here to save nature. Funny that, right? And I mean, what does it sound a bit like? Some sort of Garden of Eden. It sounds like what the Guidestones wanted the world to be. You get what I'm saying there? There is this company here as well, Snake River Land Company. And this gives you a wee bit of an insight again to the Rockefeller entity who are always looking out for us. The Snake River Land Company, or the Snake River Cattle and Stock Company, was a land purchasing company established in 1927 by John D. Criminal Rockefeller Jr. The company acted as a front so Rockefeller could buy land in the Jackson Hole Valley in Wayne without people knowing of his involvement or his intentions for the property, and have the land held until the National Park Service could administer it. So again, that gives you an insight as to how these people would work, these entities would work. They would use even other people, other organizations, other fronts as a front for them, for their gain, for their agenda, not for anything else. No way. And that was in 1927. Yet here we are today. In September 1991, Larry was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. What, in the Olympics? Yeah, he must have been doing the long jump. I'm here all week, right? Oh, man. The Congressional Gold Medal? I've never heard of such a thing. Yeah, he must be real great then, right? Yeah, and I mean, this kind of cracked me up, to be honest. And it's all very, very fitting indeed. So in September 1991, he was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal for contributions to conservation and historic preservation, awarded by, drumroll, President George H.W. Bush, of course, yeah. Good old Bush, right? Protecting the American people, the freedom of the world. It was the first time in the medal's history since 1777. What? Anyone remember that? That it had been awarded for outdoor issues, effectively naming Rockefeller as, quote, Mr. Conservation, close quote. Who more than any other American had put this issue on the public agenda? Rockefeller said at the award presentation that nothing was more important to him than, quote, the creation of a conservation ethic in America, close quote. Ladies and gentlemen, Lawrence Spelman Rockefeller. Yeah. So you might be now possibly getting an idea as to why I think Larry, here in the bow tie, not the chain or necklace even, although another very questionable character, you might now get a bit of a, at least for the time being, a wee bit more of an idea as to why I think Larry is the guy behind it. Let me quickly jump in the chat. We've still got people. I'm unsure what's going on with YouTube. It says there's only one person watching. So hello to whoever the one person is. I'm very grateful to have you. But I see there's a few other comments. We have got Rich in the hood and Carmel back again. Always a pleasure. And of course, Ruth. Yeah, lizards and greys. Yeah, I think you might be right there. So yeah, it's good to see people in the chat, and we've got great engagement. Fantastic, right? And we are still rolling, although I can't see at the moment. Let me have a look, because there'll be nothing I can do if I'm not, but we're still going. We're still rolling on Odyssey and I think Twitter and YouTube, right? So yeah, great to have everyone in tonight. A pleasure, as always, to see people in the chat, and I'm very grateful to everyone who's watching. So yeah, good old Larry. Another quite interesting character that he's with, right? I don't think it's a Rockefeller, the one in the dress. What is my dog doing? Trying to break in. Who is it? Billy. It it wasn't my dog. It was my son Billy. Well, there you go. He's sorted now. We're all good in the hood, right? But again, yeah, quite an interesting character. And the dress, sort of black goo dress. I'm sure I've seen that before on someone quite recently. A very similar. I think it's black, and it reminded me of black goo for some reason. And of course, there's Happy, large Rockefeller. I mean, yeah, for me, this one is a definite male. There's two males in this photo, right? When I look at photos of Happy Rockefeller, the arms give it away. The arms are man arms. That honestly, I can spot it a mile off. In the face and the forehead. I'm sorry, but it's a man. And I mean, the twistedness, the evilness of these entities is staggering. The deception at work is beyond belief. It genuinely is. People are not even who you think they are. I'm not talking about, Bill Gates claims he's good, but he's a bad businessman. I'm talking about they're not, maybe not even the same gender. And a lot of people would think, well, that would never be the case, but it fucking is. I can assure you it is. The deception, when you get right down to it, it goes so deep. Honestly. And it's all there for people to see. All you've got to do is look. So if you do have the skin for it, the nose for it, by all means, do the digging, do your research. But I can tell you right now, you're not going to come out a happy person from it. Because you're going to realize, if not already, of course, that the world is controlled by these internationalists who are satanic to their core. I shit you not. And the best thing we can do is expose them for exactly who they are and not fall for the tyranny that they roll out upon us, because we are seeing that today and we will see it again. I mentioned this book. We've covered it before. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. Rockefeller Internationalist, the man who misrules the world. Yeah, can say that again, right? Some of you might remember. You might remember we covered it in a Rockefeller horror show. I think maybe the first that we done. But in this book, and now I think it came out in the 50s. I think it came out in 1952. I'm sure it came out in 1952. So it is old, put it that way. And I mean, my son says I'm old, and I was born in 87. Right, so, but as you can see from this book, it doesn't say very much about Lawrence. See, during Lawrence's time, not very much was known about him. He wasn't your average Rockefeller. He kind of stayed out the limelight. He had his role to play. It wasn't the limelight businessman, banker dude that you would expect from these Rockefeller entities. He was the safari guy, the nature-loving guy. Which again, yeah, all very fitting when you consider the Guidestones. But when this guy talked about Lawrence, he said that Lawrence's nickname was Bill. And it's the only place I can find it mentioned. Well, at least as of yet. And it was, until I had seen it, it was news to me that he was nicknamed Bill. And I found that quite interesting. And we might get into that a wee bit more in the future. In regards to the Guidestones themselves, they were seemingly well protected. They've been seemingly vandalized since 2008 on several occasions with, quote, graffiti that said, quote, death to the New World Order, and, quote, I am Isis, goddess of love, close quote. Good old Isis came down and tagged the Guidestones. There were incidents that helped play into the overall lure of the site being somehow affiliated with satanic worship or the occult. Yeah. And if you look at some of the older photographs of especially drone pictures, you can see that there's blood on the top, like there's been a sacrifice. And I noticed in the video that they showed when they got taken down in quite a structured manner and laid out in a very specific manner with what appeared to be an altar untouched. And I found that quite interesting because they love an altar, the Rockefeller entities, that is for sure. I mean, John D. built a house on top of one, an ancient Indian one, where they sacrificed babies. Jekyll Island, check it out. And we've not even mentioned Jekyll Island. And of course, where would that be near? Yep, you guessed it, Georgia. Or the Guidestone location, it's not far from it. The connections are quite staggering. They really are. And I mean, this won't be the first time that we get into it because there's so much to cover. But these stones, they were well protected. Now, I'd imagine any vehicle that was coming in or out, you would have had a camera positioned where you're going to catch the license plate because that's all you need. That's really all you need. You might need a picture of the driver. But even then, if they're going fast, it might not be a great in terms of the visual sense. But if you can clock the plate, you're laughing, right? So you'd imagine they would have had a camera set up that would clock a vehicle plate, given the security surrounding it. But it would have appeared not. And if you go onto Wikipedia now or Google, it'll tell you they got built 1980 to 2022. They're finished. Like it was meant to be. Like Wikipedia had already written it, probably. And if you go on now, permanently closed. And like I said before, I really do wish it was a cause for celebration, but it could well be job done. Next phase. And I'm sorry to say, but that probably won't be a cause for celebration. I mentioned a church that the Rockefellers have. I don't know if anyone knows about it. The Union Church. Again, it's got the Knights Templar cross, clear as day. But there's paintings in it, sort of glass paintings that are really strange. Very strange. And that's being polite, to be honest. The symbolism, again, is quite staggering. And if you look at the glass, the main feature to the church that was seemingly built by John D. Rockefeller. I mean, what does that main glass feature say to anyone in the chat, if anyone's there? What does that say to you? Of course, to most people, it's going to say a rose, right? A flower, maybe. But to me, it's the Rosicrucian, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And this is the Rockefeller, their personal church. And in the painting with a character who possibly could be portrayed as Jesus, there would appear to be sheep, which could possibly be getting slaughtered. I'm unsure. But again, it's a very strange looking painting to have in a church. I mean, why can't they have just a normal painting of Jesus and a bird, or, I don't know, a river? Something nice. I mean, even the colours in this, they don't sit well with me. I'm not a fan of art. At least I don't think I am. I'm certainly not a fan of any Rockefeller art or art that they've got. And this is in the, like I said, the Rockefeller Church. Frank says rose also octagon. Yeah, exactly, bang on. I have actually seen it before. I can't remember, but I've seen practically the exact same one before. And I'm adamant it was to do with the Rosicrucians and the Knights Templar. And I mean, there's a Knights Templar cross on the door. And again, in that painting, the colours, I'm unsure as to what's happening in this painting. I think someone is either flying or heading up to heaven. You've got a big triangle at the very top with a big circle. Possibly the sun. It's a very strange painting, it really is. I find it very weird. It might only be me. Some people might be saying, that's a great painting. But I doubt it very much, to be honest. I've got a few clips now that I want to show you in regards to the latest on the Guidestones, right? So before we get into them, I'll play a tune because then I can grab a quick drink. I've still got quite a few videos to show you. So I think possibly another half an hour or maybe an hour, to be honest. I see Frank is in the hood, both on Facebook and Odyssey. So thanks very much, Frank. He certainly gets about. Of course, Odyssey, like I said, that will be the future home. And I think, yeah, it screamed Rosicrucian, right? Without a doubt. I mean, the connections between them and the Rockefellers, they go far. That's in the Rockefeller Church, built by John D. Rockefeller. I mean, you couldn't get more of a connection, right? Sheeple, yeah. I think it did maybe say that. You could be right. You could be right there, Carmel. I mean, it kind of looks like people and sheep a wee bit, which is weird, right? It's so strange. Yeah, it's one of these paintings. I don't even like to look at it. I find it quite strange. Maybe like I said, it's only me. But what I'll do is I'll play a video, and then we'll cover a few videos in regards to the explosion at the Guidestones, and maybe from the latest news, right, in regards to what's happening. So hopefully everyone's hanging in there and doing well, right? I'm still a bit worse for wear from falling off my bike. We might touch on that a wee bit more, but I mean, I'm all good, but I'm still a bit tender, my leg and my arm, my wrist. But I'm good to go, right? So the thing about pain is, you're still alive, so it's good. How can you hate pain when it tells you you're still here, right? Let's go with that. You've got to love it. But I'll get better. Of course, nothing broken, so we're all good. Let me find a tune, and I'll quickly grab a coffee, and then we'll quickly say hello, and we'll have a look at the latest and the explosion from the Georgia Guidestones, right? Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the live so far. Let me know what you think about the Guidestones. Was it a bomb? Was it lightning? I think quite a lot of people thought it was lightning. I know there's one with maybe a microwave weapon, 5G. I wouldn't rule that out either, to be honest. I don't think any of them can actually be ruled out. But I think an explosive device is probably the most likely at the moment. But again, nothing really concrete there, or granite, if you like. So, in about 3 minutes, we will speak again.
Loving you isn't the right thing to do. How can I ever change things that I feel? If I could, baby, I'd give you my world. How can I, when you won't take it from me? You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way, go your own way. Tell me why everything turned around. Packing up, shacking up, so you wanna do. If I could, baby, I'd give you my world. Open up, everything's waiting for you. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day, another lonely day. You can go your own way, go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. You can call it another lonely day. You can go your own way. You can call it another lonely day.
There we go. We are back again. So, hopefully you got a drink, right? Or had a dance, maybe. Sung the lyrics to Go Your Own Way by the Eagles. Now, I got this wrong before. It's not the Eagles, is it? For some reason, I always get them confused. Oh my God, I've got it wrong again. But there you go, right? It is me. I'm forgetting who it is. It's not the Eagles. It's someone say it for me. I always get them confused. Anyway, music aside, right? Gina, I do know Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, Rich knows the score. Of course, Carmel beat you to it. The check is in the post, Carmel, right? Good to see Ruth as well in the hood. Gina, yeah, I know of Gina Maria. I followed her actually since about, let me think, since about 2016 maybe. She does a lot of stuff with the stars and space, if you want to call it that. The sun, the moon. And she's got a good heart, Gina. You can see that she's a good soul. She means well. She's a genuine person. Great character. A very lovable character. Unlike myself. I'm a bit like Marmite, right? But there you go. But Gina's great. She reckons lightning and plasma. Yeah, interesting that. See, I can't rule lightning out 100%. I can't rule it out, but I kind of can't see it being that, although I could be wrong. And we'll expand on it a wee bit more, right? Let me see. If I can find the video, that would help. So here we go. I think I've got it. You got it. We're going to have a look at basically. Let's have a look first at the stones being the explosion, right? The original video of the explosion. Let me just clear the way. There we go. Sorted. Why did I do that? Right, so let's quickly have a look at this short clip. You can see the camera. The camera angle changes. The camera angle changes. I'm unsure if you could hear me there, to be honest. But the camera angle changes halfway through, which is strange. The timestamp's quite interesting. It pretty much explodes on 4-3-3-3, which you could maybe call a coincidence if you believe in that. But I also did find the timestamp quite strange. I'm unsure. I'm unsure as to why the camera angle changed. I guess they would probably say that the camera got damaged, so they switched it to the other camera. But I'm going to show you a clip now where we've kind of zoomed in a bit. And you'll see what I mean by before any explosion, we see a kind of shaking of the camera, at least. And here it goes. Right, let me just play that one more time, right? Ah, there we go. I didn't realize that I was not even I'd muted myself. Oh man. So yeah, basically what I was saying to myself was that you can see movement. Again, I'm not going to rule anything out. I'm unsure what you might have all missed what I said there, but I'm not going to rule anything out. I am leaning towards an explosive device, which I kind of feel might have been underground. And that is going by the the shaking that we've seen beforehand. I think I might have another video where you can see it again a wee bit more. Here it is here. Yes, so like I said, I wouldn't rule anything out at the moment, but I am leaning towards an explosive device. Now, the videos that came out, and I find this rather strange. I mean, surely they would have had all the videos at once, and they would have said, look, here's the guy running up, the first clip, here's the explosion, and here's the car running away. But what did we got? We got the explosion, the car, and then a video of the guy. And again, under any manipulated narrative, the first thing they're going to do is confuse. And that's all there was from the situation, confusion. And I reckon they will pin this on someone. Maybe even me, right? Let's not go there. But I do reckon they're going to use this and they're going to pin it on someone and they're going to make an example of them. This is what they do. This is how they work, right? Hopefully we've got full sound now. And we're back. We're back again. Yeah, that's better. Cat caught my tongue, right? But there you go. We're back again. So I want to show you the video anyway in regards to the car and the guy running away, well, to and from, seemingly planting an explosive device. And I mean, what use was the security system that they had? You can't make out anything from it. You can't see a license plate. You can't see anyone driving the car. You can't even make out a human body from the CCTV footage. So what was it? A deterrent? If anything, that's all it would have been. But I genuinely do find these videos, I'm finding them hard to buy, especially the car and the guy running to and from. And I think I've got it here.
Hoping new video will help them nail down the person responsible for blowing up the Georgia Guidestones.
Will help them nail down the person responsible for blowing up the Georgia Guidestones.
The GBI says this video shows the person leaving an explosive device at the structure and then running away. We circled them for you so you can see that person going in and then running right back out a little bit later.
If they cut me off and throw me off the air tomorrow, it won't mean a hill of beans.
Yeah. So that is the two videos. I mean, what's the point in these CCTV cameras, right? I mean, honestly, you can't make out anything. It would, if you tried to use that in a court, they would laugh at you. It's hopeless, right? Pointless. Let's have a look now at one of the news articles, right? Here it goes here.
Things happening right now in eastern Georgia. Investigators are working to learn what and who damaged the Georgia Guidestones. So far, we know part of the 42-year-old monument was damaged by some kind of explosive. It's all happening in Elbert County. That's near the South Carolina border. CBS 46's Zach Summers joins us there live. Zach, what's the latest for us?
Tracy, just within the last 15 minutes, the monument was leveled as crews were working the site. Those last three remaining pillars came falling down. The Guidestones is one of Georgia's most mysterious structures to this day. We don't know the true identity of the group responsible for erecting the granite monolith. Now, some 40 years later, after its inception, the GBI's Special Operations Unit, along with several law enforcement agencies, are sifting through the rubble, looking for clues into who tried to bring it down. 2 hours northeast of Atlanta, near the South Carolina border, an investigation is underway into the partial destruction of the Georgia Guidestones outside the town of Elberton.
There's a lot of hate in this world, but it's not on those blocks.
According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, a group of people set off an explosive device around 4 Wednesday morning, destroying a large portion of the 19-foot-tall monument.
I know that one of the wings is completely destroyed and is laying on the ground. The other ones probably have been compromised as well, and I know the capstone has been compromised.
Chris Cubis is with the Elberton Granite Association. The group works with the county to preserve the Guidestones, which were unveiled in 1980.
We had visitors come to see that monument from around the world. And you know, now it's been damaged.
Known as the Stonehenge of America, the Guidestones consist of 4 massive granite slabs, each weighing more than 40,000 pounds. Engraved on them, a 10-part message in 12 different languages, offering a guide on how to preserve mankind.
They told us what they wanted to do.
In May, GOP gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor vowed to demolish the structure if elected, claiming the Guidestones are satanic.
Those kinds of statements, they're incendiary, and they can cause people to do things. So, I hate to think that that's what would have done it.
It's the lifeblood of Elberton.
For Elberton's Mayor Daniel Graves, the Guidestones represent the quality and skill the men and women who make up the town's thriving stone industry possess.
For 122 years, we've been making memorials for the entire nation. 2/3 of the memorials in the United States come from Elberton.
He said his community may be heartbroken now, but they will recover.
The only thing stronger than the granite we stand on top of is the hearts of our community.
And again, the monument, all pillars on the ground tonight, no one injured. We do understand that the Guidestones have been vandalized in the past, but not to this extent. There are cameras in the area. You can bet the GBI will be looking through that footage. They also want to hear from anyone who may have seen anything early this morning or knows anything about the people responsible. For now, live in Elberton, Zach Summers, CBS 46 News.
Yeah. So the community were not happy about them being vandalized. Sure. That guy, the first guy, he certainly wasn't happy. I think now we're going to jump to another one that I want to cover, which is here.
There is no concept of freedom.
Actually, it's not. That's not it. One of these days I'll get it right. Where is it actually? I don't think I've got it. That's okay. I wrote down at the start when the Georgia Guidestones got unveiled, it was the vernal equinox. And I was unsure of when that was, but it would appear to be, because I thought the date could be significant. There would have been a reason, of course. They always have a reason. And of course it is, the date for that usually, well, I think all the time, is the 20th of March. Now, does that date sound familiar to anyone? I think it will. Anyway, I think we're going to call it a night tonight on the 2-hour mark, right? Hopefully, you've got a bit of a better idea as to why I believe it is the entity Lawrence Spellman Rockefeller that is indeed behind the Georgia Guidestones, without a doubt. That is my opinion. And in terms of how they got taken down, I'm unsure. Lightning, possibly. I certainly wouldn't rule that out. I think lightning or direct energy weapon, it's potentially, especially these energy weapons, potentially at a speed where you wouldn't even see it. It's so fast. The human eye, it can't comprehend it. Going by the leftover stones, the top stone at least, it wouldn't appear to have any markings that would maybe line up with potential direct energy weapons. But again, I would not rule that out. No way. I think at this time, this moment in time, we cannot rule anything out, and it would be stupid to rule anything out. So, with that said, I think we will revisit the Georgia Guidestones, right? Who knows? Maybe by then they would have built more. Do you know this? I thought we should build our own. That's what we should do. We should beat them to it, build our own, and set freedom in stone once and for all. Right? And like I said, they're going to use it. They'll probably pin it on someone that it wasn't even them, some Godiva that they'll use for the fall. And then they'll make an example and they'll blame the truth movement, if you want to call it that. The conspiracy theorists, they done it. Of course, we'll get the blame. Pretty much us, right? Shock horror. Anyway, thank you very much to everyone who did join. Let me quickly say cheerio. In the chat, where are we? Here we go. Carmel, good to see you. A pleasure, as always. I do enjoy engaging with everyone, especially the familiar faces, right? Who I speak to both here, and I tend to chat with people in the Telegram group, which we do have. How you're going to find it, I don't know. Just search "That's Life but Not As We Know It" and you should find it, right? We did have issues, but I think we're all good on Telegram for the time being. Touch wood, right? Don't speak too soon. So good to see Carmel and Rich. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Great to see you again, brother. And Ruth. Yeah, I think the guy running away. I mean, wow. Even when I've slowed it right down and looked at it quite a few times, it doesn't add up. I think it might be fake. I think the guy running to and from in the car even is potentially fake footage. The bombing of it, the actual explosion, I don't think that is fake. I mean, in this world, you can't be sure, but I don't think it is. And they're certainly taken down now, from what we can gather. And there is people who have now went again back to the site, and they are indeed gone. So yeah, they're finished, right? Is it a case, like I said, of job done? Hopefully not. Is it a case for celebration? I wouldn't say so. If they had been taken down in 1987, yeah, probably then a cause for celebration. But today, look at the world we're in. It's pretty much job done. They're now rolling out the final phase, in my opinion, of the New World Order. But we're still here. We're still fighting. We do not give up hope. We never live in fear. And they do not fool us. Not for 1 minute. No way. So, with that said, thank you very much to everyone tonight for joining. I will be live again. Let me think on... I think we'll go with Friday, and it'll be on my my third channel. And then I think next week we're back on the original backup, if you like. Oh man, this is going to be great fun in terms of confusing myself, right? But you should know where to find me. And thank you to everyone on Odyssey and YouTube and anyone who was on Twitter. I can't see what's going on there, but I appreciate everyone's time tonight. I think 2 hours is probably, enough, to be honest, but there is a lot more. So there could well be a part 2. Look out for it. In the meantime, like I always say, do not live in fear. Keep your eyes peeled. Get out there. Have fun while you're still here, right? Forget about the troubles in the world for one day and concentrate on yourself. Do what makes you happy, right? We can continue the battle tomorrow. Always remember, tomorrow's a new day, right? So, until, I guess, Friday, that is about it. Bye-bye.
Don't